Theater camp. Go and see this musical independent movie. Theater camp. Do not pass on the humor and the heart and this wonderful cast. Hey everyone, this is David Stark from Watcher Pass. I'm here to talk to you about Theater Camp, which released in LA and New York on July 14th and is coming to DC theaters, I assume many other theaters as well, on July 21st, 2023. It is a new musical comedy that stars Ben Platt, Molly Gordon, and Noah Galvin. My hot take is, look, I think you should watch it. I really enjoyed this film. It is just kind of a fun, ridiculous comedy that has just a ton of humor, a ton of heart, a ton of drama, and a phenomenal ending. I really enjoyed it from start to finish. It has plenty of like awkward, dry humor that is really fun, and a lot of like, I don't know, nerd theater kind of humor that is entertaining if you've been in those circles. But I think even if you haven't been, I think you'll still enjoy it. It is just a wonderful film. I definitely think you should check it out. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the film. A few things I liked. Really wasn't anything I didn't like. I guess maybe it's a little short, but other than that, I really loved it. And then go very briefly into the ending. So as you can imagine, there will be spoilers in the ending section. If you don't want to know what happens in the film, I would turn it off when I get to the ending section. Before that, I'll keep it spoiler free. I'll keep it vague, and I'll let you know when I get to those spoilers. So I won't sing anymore in this review, but I'll tell you a little bit about Theater Camp. So Theater Camp follows the theatrics, the kind of summer drama of Camp Adirondacks. It's a musical theater camp in the Adirondacks Mountain called Adirondacks, for like acting teaching. It is a great little pun. It's a wonderful kind of way to start this film. It follows the camp, the kids, and the counselors in a pivotal summer where not only the kind of like fate of their young lives and their young camp experiences are at stakes, but the entire camp might be at stakes as well. It is a tumultuous time, but it is a thoroughly entertaining and enjoyable time as well. So will the show get done? Will the camp go on? Well, you have to watch the film to find out. But things I liked about this movie. The first, I love the humor. It is a really funny humor. It has a nice kind of like dry, sarcastic humor that I love. It has some really fun asides, some really fun like theater versus jock humor, some really fun like popular versus unpopular kids humor, and just overall, it is a very entertaining film. It's not crazy funny all the time, but there is plenty of humor to keep the story going. There were so many times I laughed out loud during this film. The second thing I love, look, I love the cast. Like the cast is phenomenal. They kind of go all in on this role, and it feels really fun to see these like performers play performing teachers at this summer camp. But it's not just kind of the main like big names that you have. You've got Noah Galvin, you've got Molly Gordon, you've got Ben Platt. It's not just them. You got a ton of like child actors, child performers in there that do a really good job as well. It feels like everyone kind of goes all in to their roles and really kind of makes some magic happen in this film. You've got a lot of like really young actors who do a fantastic job as playing like over dramatic theater kids at camp. They're just finally allowed to kind of let their creative juices flow. It is a really just fun overall cast. It really contributes to the wonderful feel of this film. The third thing I love, look, I love the heart. It is just a really fun story. It's a nice way to like, it's a great kind of tribute to like finding your voice and finding your place in life. A lot of these kids are outcasts everywhere else except for here, and it's really fun to see when they all get together, and it's fun to see the lengths that they will all go to support each other and the overall camp. The fourth thing I love, I kind of it's a double-edged sword. I'm going to go into it in the second part, but I really did like the documentary style. It's interesting. It's told as kind of like a documentary, so you've got little like cue card here aside that tell a little bits of the story. You've got kind of like a, not like a shaky cam, but like a documentary style camera at times. It is a fun way to start. It kind of starts more on the documentary side, and then as the movie progresses, you kind of lose that documentary part of it. But it is a fun way to kind of like get the humor going and get some of like the dry, funny moments in the film. And the last thing I love, look, I love the ending. It comes together really well. The ending is phenomenal. It is definitely a kind of tour de force. It's definitely something that is enjoyable. It fits with the whole style, and it fits with some of the things, some of the weird situations that we've seen in this movie. So I definitely think you should check it out. I love Theater Camp. Things I didn't love as much. It's really kind of, I don't know. I guess the documentary. This is a minor thing. It's not a big deal, but I feel like the documentary style was nice. It's just they didn't go all in. Like I don't know. It would have been nice to have kind of like office style asides in the film. Sometimes there would be like little cue cards that would come up that were a little tough to read. This is like black with like some white text on it, and they would come very quickly. I felt like I needed a little bit more time to kind of read and digest, especially towards the end when you find out some additional things that happen to all the characters. It kind of goes bam, 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 and it was tough for me to follow those. And at the start, it was kind of tough for me to follow some of the new information that we learned. I wish if they were going to really do a documentary style film, they would have gone kind of all in. I felt like it was kind of strong at the start, and then as the movie progressed, it kind of like faded away into the like back burner as the film kind of turned into more of a traditional comedy movie, and then it kind of came back at the end. But that being said, I really enjoyed the film. It wasn't a big issue at all. I love this movie, so definitely check out Theater Camp. It opened in LA and New York on July 14, 2023, and it's coming to DC and I assume other markets as well on July 21st, 2023. If it's in your area, definitely check it out. It is an enjoyable, just fun, silly movie that if you have any sort of interest in musical theater or experience in musical theater, you will absolutely love it. Now I'm going to go into the ending very briefly. So if you don't want to know what happens in this movie, I would turn it off now because there will be spoilers. So, like I said, Theater Camp follows this theater performing camp set up by Joan Rubinski, who's played by Amy Sedaris. She sets this up as a place for kids to go and kind of like be themselves, perform, hone their craft, but also just be around other theater kids. It is a labor of love for sure. But at the start, she has a seizure and gets into a coma. So the camp is always kind of running on a shoestring budget. It always needs more money to kind of stay afloat. They're trying to fundraise, and she has this coma. So now her son, who is not a theater person, not really a very good business person, not really, he's kind of like a blundering person, decides to take over. And he makes some ridiculous decisions to try to like keep the camp afloat, and that comes back to bite them throughout the movie. Now, you also have a couple of the main counselors, the kind of like two main stars of this camp, the two main teachers slash counselors, Amos and Rebecca-Diane. They have been friends for 11 years. They started teaching and running the camp together. They always come up with an original like musical as part of the camp curriculum, and they perform it every year. And this year they decide to perform one based on the life of Joan because she's in a coma. They want to kind of like celebrate her life. But as they start to kind of develop this, there is a little bit of friction going on in them. It seems like Rebecca is not as dialed in to this as you would expect her to be. She kind of takes on more than she can handle. She starts disappearing occasionally during the camp, and especially misses some traditions that they love. But so will the show happen? They have to perform at the end of camp? Well, you don't know. But during this time, Troy, who took over the camp, is also trying some pretty outlandish things to raise money. The bank is about to foreclose on the property. He's about to lose the camp. And to make matters worse, he tried to do a business deal with a neighboring camp that was bought by a large venture capital company, and that kind of backfires on him. And so it turns out that he actually signed away the camp if the bank forecloses on them. If the bank forecloses, then this venture capital firm gets the camp and gets the land that they want, and they're just going to expand their like private rich person camp and just swallow this theater camp, raise it to the ground, destroy this place for all these kids. So everything comes down to the final performance. Are they going to be able to do it? Well, there's a lot of things that kind of go wrong during the final performance. For one, Rebecca-Diane is kind of dialing it in. She's been tasked with doing the finale, but she seems distracted the entire time. When they finally have to rehearse the finale, she just kind of like makes stuff on the fly. It's a really funny scene where Molly Gordon is just like saying things that come to her head. It feels very kind of slapped together. It is a very like impromptu song and dance, and Amos is like, what's going on? Like, you're not dialed in, you're missing like some of our traditions, things like that. Turns out that Rebecca-Diane had accepted the job to be on a cruise ship. She was going to be a cruise ship singer. She wanted to perform. She'd been kind of like giving her life to this camp for a long time, and now she wants to do her own thing, which means she's also doing her own thing away from Amos. And they've been friends forever. They've been kind of cohorts, partners in crime for a very long time. Now she's kind of breaking that off and wanting to do her own thing, which hurts Amos a lot. I don't really know why she couldn't focus on the musical number, why this was distracting her so much. I don't know, maybe she was auditioning for it. It doesn't seem like it'd be that big of an audition, and she hasn't like left for the cruise yet. But for some reason, she's not able to really kind of dial in for the finale. So now they have a show that doesn't really have a finale. Well, on top of this, Amos is a little bit kind of thrown off by this, not having his partner, and he just kind of loses interest in the entire performance, even though they only have one day. Now, who steps up? Well, the kind of stage manager, this person, Glenn, who everyone kind of like takes advantage of. He's like the prop person. He's doing a lot of things around the camp. He's kind of this like quiet, behind the scenes kind of person. But early on, he was showing some of the camp kids how to like manage some of the stage props, and he had a light operator kind of follow him on stage and show like how you kind of operate the spotlight. And the light operator is like, yo, like this is easy, do something hard. And so that's when Glenn goes into like a dance number, and a really, really good dance number, a surprisingly good dance number, given that he doesn't seem to be kind of a musical person. That seems to like show a spark in him. And now when the show is kind of in trouble, he steps up to finish the show. So it's the end of camp. It is the big final performance of I think the show was called Still Joan. It's a musical based on Joan's life. They start performing, and right before the show, we have another hiccup. The star, the person who's supposed to play Joan, older Joan, she got a role in a movie, and she has to leave immediately because she, is not going to give up this role. She's not going to give up her like big shot, so she leaves immediately. So now they don't have a big Joan. So everything seems to be going wrong. They don't really have a good finale. They don't have a big Joan. And also the fate of the camp relies on this show because this is their last chance to raise some money. Troy throws a Hail Mary, gets some like influencers, some investment influencers to come and watch the show so that hopefully they will throw in some money hopefully they will invest in the camp, save it, because they'll be so moved by the show. Well, let's find out. The show starts. It's really funny. It's like a really well done, it's almost like its own Broadway musical. Like I would actually watch this show because the song, the dance, the choreography, it's all really, really fun. It's really entertaining. And now we get to the part where old Joan is supposed to come in, where this previous character who had been rehearsing for the entire time just up and left. And who steps in? Well, Glenn steps in as Joan in drag. It is a really fun scene. It's a really fun, like, explosive moment for Glenn. He fully dials into this Joan role. It is really fun to see him play Joan in the rest of this musical. They get to the finale. And they do the song that Rebecca-Diane just kind of like ad-lib, but they kind of glam it up. So it is a well done, rehearsed ad-lib type song with dance and like big Broadway vocals and really bad but endearing writing. It is phenomenal. And I just love the way this movie ended. It kind of like fit everything together. Amos looks over and he sees Rebecca-Diane there. They go over, they make up. She apologizes for not like being honest with him, and he like apologizes for getting mad at her, and we find out that she actually did like go and like rehearse the finale with them. She kind of like finished writing it, got it all ready to go, got it all packaged up for this show. So it's a success. The show is wonderful and very kind of unique and perfect, but unfortunately the influencers don't have any money, so they can't give to this camp. But someone steps up. Troy has a lot of very weird ideas to try to earn some money. And when he like starts a restaurant at the camp, as people come, it goes horribly because these kids are told that they're playing characters in this restaurant, and so they go over dramatic. So it's not a great fundraising night. But one of his crazy ideas, he Airbnb'd one of the bunks in the camp to some random person. Well, that random person turns out that they apparently had money, and so they were so moved by this camp performance that they put in the money to save the camp. So it all works out. Everything works out. And during the credits, there's one kind of big stinger and then one like minor stinger. At the very start of the credits, after like a couple names scroll by, you have a scene in the hospital where Joan wakes up. She wakes up from her coma, and the first thing she says is, "Don't let Troy run the camp." Well, that's a little bit too late. It's a fun scene that catches Joan up on what is happening in the camp. It's a really nice way to end the overall film, and it gives Amy Sedaris a little bit more time because she doesn't have very much screen time at all. She has a little bit at the start, and then this thing at the end. Now, the final like stinger-ish thing is at the very end of the credits. Molly Gordon as Rebecca-Diane sings a little like, again, impromptu song, thanking you for coming. It's really cute. It's not like essential, but the credits aren't very long. You might as well go and listen to it. It's a fun way to cap off this overall film. So that is Theater Camp. It comes to LA, New York on July 14, 2023, and it comes to the DC area, and I assume other theaters on July 21st, 2023. Definitely check it out. It's really fun. It's really entertaining. It has humor, heart, a fantastic cast, and if you have any interest in musicals, you're going to love it. So thanks so much for watching. If you like this review, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot. Make sure all my content goes straight to you.